What's up, guys? I'm Nick, and this is Build Dad Build, where there ain't no party like a West Coast party. And today, we're doing a little experimentation. Kind of like that one time in college, and the hot tub, with that foreign exchange student named Sven. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm filming this on the off chance that a video will come out of it. There's a likelihood that none of this footage will be used, but it should fuel future content. Damn, that looks good. I had a subscriber ask me if I knew anything about wood dyeing. And the answer to that is no. I mean, I know how to stain wood. He asked me specifically about Keda dye. Never heard of it. Chuck Norris, never heard of her. So I went to the Googles and I did find a bunch of cool images of stuff that people had done, but I couldn't find a good video that really explained exactly how the process worked. These are powders and you have to add them to a medium. And the first thing I heard is you have to use lacquer thinner. And then I read where you can mix them with alcohol. But then I watched a video where a guy just mixes them with water. And then the ratios were really confusing. Like, use a 1/4 teaspoon, use a 1/2 teaspoon, use 2 teaspoons, or somebody would contradict themselves and say, well, normally you use 1/8 of a teaspoon, but in this instance, I'm using a teaspoon. So today I'm gonna set out to see which mediums I wanna use, what ratios. We're gonna start low and see if those penetrate well enough, and just overall see what kind of results we can gather. So if you guys want, come along with me on this journey and let's figure this out together. But first, we gotta burn some wood. I interrupt this regularly scheduled video to let you know that we've had a casualty. My GoPro session flew too close to the sun and got all melty. I don't know, can you see that? Anyway, it's all gross, it all melted up. I think the footage is still good though. Camera seems like it might still work. Anyway, when you're playing with fire, kids, be careful where the flame's going. If you're interested on helping me pick up a new GoPro camera, I have a Patreon page. Go check it out at patreon.com/builddadbuild. And help me not be such an idiot. And now back to our regular scheduled program. That really sucks, man. I don't even think they make the session anymore. I think you have to buy the bigger one now. And this was always cool because I just throw it in my pocket. Let's see if I can find it useful. Because I think it still works, but I can't read the display at all, so I don't know what setting I'm on. And this has some issues, but it's a good little camera. Okay, so here's where we are now. We've got our test pieces burned, kind of to varying degrees. I don't have a whole lot of faith in this one. It's not looking good. The rest of them look pretty good though. And before we go any further, just so you have an idea, this is the diagram that comes with this on how to mix dyes. That's a lot of steps. That's a lot of if this, then that's. So we're gonna try to maneuver through this without it being all All right, so before I go all crazy and start trying to do a million different things on a million different pieces of wood, I wanted to try one thing. One thing that came up over and over again in the materials I read and the videos I watched was that if you want the stain to penetrate real deep, just use water. I want to make these dark lines even darker. So when I put a color on there, it's really gonna pop. Okay, so what I have here, you get 5 packets of dye. You get a black one, a blue one, a red one, a yellow one that looks orange, and brown. Okay, so I'm gonna take the black, and this is 1/8 of a teaspoon, which is I'm pretty sure that's all I need. 2 ounces of warm water. And you just wanna mix it around, and then you wanna let it sit for about 10 minutes, and make sure that everything dissolves in. Okay, here goes nothing. We're just gonna apply the black stain with a piece of t-shirt to this piece of wood. All right, guys. So I kind of closed up shop a little early yesterday. It started getting really windy and rainy, and a cold front blew in. It is like currently about 30 degrees, so I'm freezing. But This morning I came down and I took the nylon brush to the piece of wood that I dyed black yesterday, and I gotta say, not super impressed with the results. Here is the piece of wood that had the black dye on it after I went ahead and hit it with the nylon brush, and here is a piece of wood that just was burned and scraped. So I'm not seeing a whole lot of difference right there. That part of the experiment may be a bust. What I'm gonna do now is dye both of these blue. I went ahead and mixed up some blue dye this morning. Recommendation is that you use warm water and then let it sit for about 20 minutes. I guess the dye has to acclimate to the water. So that one is an 1/8 of a teaspoon of blue dye, 2 ounces of water. And we're just gonna stick with water right now. So, let's get to staining.
20 minutes later.
So currently here's where we're at. This one right here is the black dye with the blue. This one is the blue dye with no black. Funny thing is right here, this almost looks green right now. But I don't even know if the blue will translate onto camera right now. It's very dark and very subtle. Okay, after a good scraping, this is the one with the black dye. So that's looking a little better there. It's kind of pulling that color out. It still looks more green than blue to me. So that was the one with the black dye. This is the one without the black dye. Kind of a similar result. I'm not really seeing, like, the black dye isn't really doing anything for me as far as if it's making any sort of a difference. So I think moving forward, we're just gonna kind of skip the black dye now. Maybe I'll do a little bit more research to see if that's a viable option in the future. But I think we're actually seeing plenty of darks. We want to see more lights to kind of give it that contrast. So next we're going to take one board. I'm going to mix up some red with water, with lacquer thinner, and with alcohol. And then we're going to apply it in 3 different spots on this board and see what kind of differences we see. It looks like we got a little bit better progress with the red. This is 2 coats now, and the top piece looks fantastic. If I can get some light on that. Middle piece looks okay, and then the bottom piece, which is the alcohol, I can't tell the difference. Now granted, this is 99% alcohol. Maybe that's just too much alcohol. Maybe it needs to be a lower percentage of that. I know you can buy 70. The lacquer thinner looks like it might have its place, but what I'm really liking is what happens when you just use the water and the dye. Now that we have a baseline for what works and what doesn't work, one of the most appealing things about the Keda dyes is the fact that you can mix your own colors. So next, I'm gonna mix, or try to mix, a purple and an orange. The one that looks orange is actually the yellow pigment. You'll see in a second. Down to hot water, warm water. It looks orange, but when you slash up on the side, it's yellow. It's about a 1/16. Red, might have been too much. No, that's gonna be orange. Same here with the red, just a little bit of blue. Gonna go a little bit more blue. That's more of a burgundy. I think he said you could even mix in a little brown to take the edge off the purple, or take the edge off the red. Okay, it is a day later, and I've let these kind of sit overnight. I'm not super happy with the results. The orange doesn't look too bad. The purple, which is kind of more of a wine color, it's okay. It's got some subtlety to it. The first 2 we did still kind of have that green color to them, but I think I can do better. I think we can do better. So so what we're gonna do is I went back and reviewed some of the old videos that I was watching, and it seems like what makes this dye really pop is really good contrast. We're gonna cut up some more wood. We're gonna burn some deep and some light. The light ones obviously will have a good amount of contrast already because we won't have that kind of brown intermediate color. The ones that we burn deep, I'm gonna take a wire brush to them, sacrifice a little bit of the smoothness to try to really get down to that light wood so we can get some really good contrast that pops. Then I'm gonna mix up probably 5 colors, I think, and we're just gonna apply that to both types of wood, see what we get. I'm wearing my purple Maker AF shirt because currently purple is my white whale. I went back and watched a little bit more YouTube on how to get that purple right. We're gonna see if we can get it right today. If you like this shirt, it comes in different colors. You don't have to get it in purple. It's in my merch shelf down below. Check it out. All right, let's get to work. All right, chart the boards now. We're gonna mix our colors. I'm gonna do yellow, I'm gonna do green, I'm gonna try to do purple again. Yellow is just yellow pigment. I've got half as much yellow pigment in the second one, so 1/8 of a tablespoon. I'm gonna add blue as I go. And then it's my understanding that to make purple, it is 1 part blue, 2 parts red, and then you can add a little brown to kind of round out the color. So I've done the blue and the red in here, 1/8 of a tablespoon of blue, 1/4 tablespoon of red. All right, yeah, let's get to mixing. All right, while those dyes are acclimating to the water, whatever that means, I am going to scrape the char off the deep charred boards. I ended up not even using a wire brush. I used a more aggressive nylon brush on the drill and it worked great. So check this out. It's a little wet because I just cleaned it off, but see how we've got definite contrast? We've got some lights in there. That's what we want to pick up the color. So maybe my first round of experiments could have just been user error and I just didn't remove enough material. It is moment of truth time. Full disclosure, after I dyed the wood and let it dry, I hit it with a couple of coats of Kryolan Lacquer. This stuff's fantastic. If the boards seem kind of shiny, that is why. Now, let's check out our results. All right, first we have the purple. I still didn't get the color I want. I didn't really want this color either. I wanted kind of a little bit more royal purple, but I did get a purple. Here's the deep burn with purple. And here is the light burn with purple. So you've got a better contrast over here, but this didn't take the purple nearly as well. I think it's because this was already so dark. Next up we have the blue, kind of a similar situation. I think you can see the blue a little bit better, but it's still a dark, dark blue. This is the light burn. The light burn again just didn't take that stain as well. Next we have green, which kind of similar thing. I don't know if that's gonna really translate. It's gonna look really dark. Here's the green on the light burn. Doesn't look too bad. It's kind of like a lime color. I don't know. So here's where you're gonna start really seeing like kind of the winners of the show here. This is the light burn yellow. Looks pretty good, huh? I mean, if you saw that, you wouldn't be mad at that. You wouldn't kick this out of bed. But if this was in bed with you, would you kick it out of bed for this? Damn, that looks good. Don't smell that. So this next one, I have to admit, may have been a little bit of user error, but the light burn orange, looks like I didn't get enough orange, like enough dye on it. Mainly there's this kind of light, now looking at it, it looks like that's sap, which just like made the dye not stick to that part. but still not a bad result. But then you got this. Whew. Look at how ridiculous that orange looks. Like I said, the warm tones are definitely stealing the show. Here is the red on light burn. Still not too bad, not too bad. All right, I see you. I see you. Do you still see me? Look at that. If I can get it to focus, that is ridiculous. Ridiculous. That red is just so rich. I'm hoping that that red translates onto what you're seeing. But man, if there's anything I realized from the second round of tests, it's definitely be more aggressive than you think you need to be when you're brushing the wood, which I think is the problem a lot of you guys that have reached out have run into, is that you don't want to like ruin your piece of wood, right? So you don't want to go too aggressive on it. I'm not saying you can't ruin it, but I'm saying maybe just try to go a little bit more aggressive and see if you get that result that you want. Cool? Cool. What's up, guys? Woo! I didn't think I was gonna make it that time. I really didn't think that was gonna work. I really thought that I was gonna have some really bad results, and then magic happened. It was crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So that just goes to show you that just because you hit a roadblock or something doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to, it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep pushing forward. That's when just those like great little discovery moments happen. And that's what this channel is all about. This channel is a community of people that like want to learn, but we want to learn from each other, and we want to reach that next plateau. We want to reach that next magical moment, for lack of a better term. So I'm glad I got to share that with you today. The product that I was using today is called Keda Dye. It's K-E-D-A-D-Y-E, I believe. I'll link to the sample pack down below. Check it out. Like I said, it's like 17 bucks. Super easy to work with. As far as ratios, it seemed like about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon per like 2 ounces of water. I know that in the video I used 1 ounce quite a bit, but that was only because I was reducing the amount of dye I was making, and I didn't have anything smaller than 1/8 of a teaspoon. We did have a slight casualty with the GoPro. I'm pretty sure that all the footage that I took for this video is on it, but when I was getting ready to pull the memory card, it came up and did say camera malfunction on it. So she may be dead. I'm not sure. We'll see. Alright guys, I don't want to take any more of your time. I think this video is going to be pretty long anyway because we went through several processes. And I just want to say thanks to all my subscribers out there. Thanks to my patrons. You guys are the ones that make the videos happen. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It just helps me to continue to put out good content. If you like this video, hit that like button if that's your thing. Smash it if you want to. Don't smash it. If you really like this video, do me a favor and share it with a friend. If you know somebody who's looking for that new wood finish, have them check me out. But until next time, guys, hey, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for having a little whiskey with me. Clinkies. But now, I gotta get to work. But man, if there's anything I learned from the second round of tests, it's that be more aggressive than you think you need to be when you're starting the UPS truck across the street. See kind of the strip that goes down the middle? Feels like it just wasn't, like there was an airplane flying overhead or something. Would you kick it out of bed for this? Ooh, shit, that looks good.